I know from the Honourable Prime Minister whether his attention has been drawn to the fact that under Section 71 of our Constitution, the Commission of Police is independent and cannot be subject to any directive, be it from the task force or anyone other than general policy directive from the Prime Minister.
I know, Madam Speaker, the Constitution provides for the independence of the Commissioner of Police, and I can assure the Honourable Member that the Commissioner of Police, being part of the task force, is not in any way subjected to any direction or any instruction by whoever.
In a workshop during the weekend, our Director of Public Prosecution stated, and that has been aired on the radio, that only the police can inquire on drug trafficker matters, only the police can inquire on information following the report, and not the task force. He specially provided not the task force. So in view of this, would the Honourable Prime Minister be willing to reconsider the decision of giving such powers to the task force to decide and coordinate investigation, knowing full well that the first thing any lawyer will take if the case goes to trial is that the inquiry is fault ab initio because it was not conducted by the police, but initiated by the task force?
Madam Speaker, the DPP has stated the obvious. The DPP has stated what the law prescribes, and what we are doing is fully according to the law. And I can assure the member that the task force is there for sharing of information, for coordination, so that there is no duplication, and no one, not even the director of ICAC chairing that task force, has given or is giving any instruction to the Commissioner of Police. The Commissioner of Police will act according to the legal framework that governs the police.
Madam Speaker, does the Honourable Prime Minister agree that today it is the task force, all the reports from the newspaper also confirms it, it is the task force who decide which person is going to be interviewed and when, not the Commissioner of Police. It is the task force, and this is against the Constitution.
The Honourable Member is wrong, he is misinformed, and it is not the case that the task force is giving instruction about whom to inquire upon. As I repeat again, each of the person in the task force representing their institutions will carry out their responsibility and their duties according to the legal framework that governs each of those institutions. It is merely for practical purposes that there should be, especially when we are fighting and when we are going against the mafia of those involved in drugs, that there should be proper coordination.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I know from the Honourable Prime Minister whether, as Prime Minister, he is initiating action against the barristers whose names have been mentioned in the report, which are being interviewed by the task force, the fact that they are legal advisors of government-owned companies or institutions, whether action will be taken to terminate their employment as legal advisors of these paralegal bodies and government-owned companies, being given they have been mentioned, they have been named in the Commission, the Lam Shang Leen report, and they will be called upon before the task force.
Madam Speaker, we must understand one thing. We all have gone through the findings of the report of the Commission on Drug Trafficking. The report recommends, the report has come up with a certain number of facts. I'm not going to pronounce myself on those facts, but what the report recommends, it recommends further investigation. And this is what precisely we are doing. Now, I cannot condemn people in advance when the Commission itself has not clearly and unambiguously condemned people. So, more so that I know, we all know, that there are cases that have been entered before the Supreme Court for judicial review. So I can't act in a way as if I myself, I am the judge and I already pronounce, it's as if I am pronouncing a sentence. This cannot be so. We have to be fair.
Ganoo.
Ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether the task force is subject to the directive of anybody, including the Prime Minister or the Cabinet, or what will happen if government feels that the task force is going astray in terms of the recommendations made in the report?
This task force is not subjected to any directive from the Ministerial Committee. The Ministerial Committee has been set up, in fact, to precisely to be able to put in place that task force. But that task force is working independently of the Ministerial Committee. What we have asked the task force, should there, as and when required, should there be any information that they feel that should be publicized, of course it is not for them then to publicize, then they will provide us with the information and we will do so. I can assure the Honourable Member, that is why I have answered that I cannot give any information, not that I cannot give. I am not entitled to retrieve information from the inquiries that are underway. I can assure the Honourable Member that inquiries are, I'm told that inquiries are proceeding.
Last question, Robert Bulel. Yes.
What's going to happen to the Commissioner of Police? He has been named in the report for having transferred this DCP from Rodrigues, named also in the report, his office at least, for the leaking of information concerning the star witness. Now, what arrangements are you making to complete these inquiries, which in my view need to be completed?
Well, Madam Speaker, with regard to what has been mentioned in the report, inquiries that are warranted, I'm sure, will be conducted by the different authorities forming part of the task force.